Welcome back. Now, you know the story by now. The guy on screen is Jeranism. He is one of the biggest flat earthers on the internet. He used to tell people it was impossible to go to Antarctica, and he used to claim that those people who had been to Antarctica actually had been on windowless planes and diverted to some kind of mysterious, secret, hidden location.
A little in-depth research will reveal the truth, and that's why I'm here. So, first thing we should pay attention to, you'll notice that the planes have a peculiar thing missing: windows. So when do you want to fly people to a certain location and not have them look out the windows unless you are fooling them about where they are flying?
He also used to make up other lies to cope with the fact that during certain months there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, something that would go on ultimately to ruin his flat earth model. One of the lies he told was that when you use the webcam footage of Antarctica itself, you can see smoke being blown into the sky in an attempt somehow to hide the sun so people can't see what it's doing.
But you'll see if you look straight ahead that there's a blower that blows along the horizon. The reason for that is so that people who are down there don't get to see what the sun is actually doing, which is not circling their heads.
But of course, by now, as we all know, Jeranism has participated in something that's become known as the final experiment. He was flown down to Antarctica by a wealthy pastor to see the 24-hour sun for himself. And here he is eating a little bit of humble pie.
All right, guys. Sometimes you are wrong in life. And I thought that there was no 24-hour sun. In fact, I was pretty sure of it. The sun does circle you in the south. You should be able to accept that the sun does exactly what these guys said as far as circles the southern continent. So that's about it. I realize that I'll be called a shill for just saying that.
And called a shill he was. I did make a video on that, it's linked in the description, covering the backlash he got. And I made the point in that video that a lot of this backlash is something he's brought on himself. He has trained his subscribers over the years to just assume everything is a hoax. And it goes beyond just the shape of the earth. He's also denied some pretty serious and sensitive events in the past. I'm not going to play the clips here, but let's just say it's enough to know that perhaps Alex Jones has also got himself in some hot water for denying similar events. I'll leave it there. If you want to hear the clip, you can join the members Discord. I've put the clip in there. Now, Jeran isn't the only flat earther who's trained people on the internet. This video is about a recent conversation he had online during a live stream with a flat earther who'd been trained by a certain Mr. Nathan Oakley. Now, this conversation was fascinating, if not also, if I'm being honest, absolutely hilarious. So let's get into it. Now, if you don't know Nathan Oakley, he's a prick. He's also a flat earther who lied to his audience for years and years and years, telling them that there was no 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And now it's been proven by other flat earthers that there actually is. He's decided it doesn't make any difference anyway, because as far as he's concerned, he's just going to train his audience now to say the earth measures flat.
Earth is measured flat. For anybody listening who was wondering if Earth was flat or a globe based on what the sun does in Antarctica, know this. Like Toon knows it. Earth is measured flat. The elevation angle measurements in Toon's challenge specifically, I've put it to him 100 times, this will be the 100th, are flat Earth angle measurements. He knows it, I know it.
Now, as well as simply training his subscribers to just utter the words, "it measures flat," no matter what evidence or observations are put in front of them, he also trains his subscribers to just disregard observations altogether, because according to him, observations are not science. He has a very, very strict criteria of what he will and will not regard as science. Here it is, coming from the man himself.
Natural science, that's what we deal with here. We're talking about the Earth. That deals with cause and effect relationships, is based on systematic experimentation, which is in turn based on scientific predictions, otherwise known as hypotheses, which are based on having a phenomena, your dependent variable, that you're observing in nature and asking why it happens, and then presuming a cause of that effect. That's your independent variable, which you'll later go forth to vary in an experiment to see if it causes the effect you're studying. If you do all that, you've followed the scientific method and you've got an empirical outcome. That is science.
So the scene is set, and now we have a Nathan Oakley subscriber about to get spanked to the high heavens by Jeranism in a debate about the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And of course, if you're a Nathan Oakley subscriber, the first thing you're going to say is viewing the 24-hour sun in Antarctica doesn't matter because it's not an experiment. Let's see how that pans out for him.
Everything, like the conversation, me listening to you was going good till about 2 seconds ago when you said that saying that it's not a science experiment is something that just certain flat earthers say.
It is.
If it's a science experiment, what's the independent and dependent variable? You don't have one.
Why not?
Well, what is it?
The location that we saw the observation.
The location that you saw so you're gonna vary and manipulate your location for an observation?
Correct. Because in certain places on the Earth, you wouldn't expect to see a 24-hour sun. In other places, you would. So we varied and manipulated our position. You couldn't see a 24-hour sun from where you were, but where we were, we varied and manipulated our position and saw a 24-hour sun.
It's literally not. No, you varying and manipulating where you are is not. That's not an independent variable.
Why not?
Because you're just changing your distance, like your location to something.
So when you have another independent variable, you're just changing one part of the experiment also. So you get to pick and choose what we can change and what we can't.
And that's round one to Jeran. The Nathan Oakley subscriber knew to ask, what is the independent variable? But he didn't know what to respond when he was given the answer. And that's probably because Nathan Oakley on his show uses a mute button to stop people answering his question when he asks them what an independent variable is. So to save a little bit of face, our Nathan Oakley subscriber does the only thing he knows how to do. And that is to revert to tactic number 2 and say, well, the Earth is measured flat.
Yeah, but the thing is, Earth's physically measured flat.
It measures flat, and yes.
Yes. And the thing is, what's a glober going to say? They're going to scream tangent. Once a glober screams tangent, what are they doing? They're apologizing for how not curved their angle measurement is, because you cannot have a elevation angle with a curved baseline.
You watch too much Nathan Oakley.
Huh?
You watch too much Nathan Oakley. Show me this.
See, yeah,
hold on. This pen.
That's a non-response.
Hold on. This pen right here. No, it's not.
That's literally a non-response.
Well, I'm trying to respond to you right now. Say this pen right here. If somebody sat on top of this, could they get an angle measurement to a light on my ceiling?
They would have to use a bubble sextant. Why don't they not a Mariner sextant?
Oh no, that is definitely round 2 to Jeran. The Nathan Oakley subscribers committed a massive, massive sin in the flat earth world. He has admitted that a bubble sextant will allow you to measure the elevation to a star even if you're on a very curved surface. That's a serious, serious own goal, but he doesn't quite realise it yet. Or maybe he does, because he goes on to hide it by saying this ridiculously stupid thing.
If me and you were to both go outside right now,
right,
and take an elevation angle to Arcturus or
the
middle star in Orion's belt.
Can we do that? That's not an experiment.
I'm not saying this is an experiment. This has nothing to do with science.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is all just math. It's geometry.
Okay.
Round 3 to Jeran, because of course, you know when you are a flat earther. You know when you're a real flat earther when you start saying that maths and geometry have nothing to do with the science of determining the shape of the Earth. That is fantastic. So our Nathan Oakley subscriber is struggling a little bit. He's not been trained well enough. So what he does now is he appears to ask a load of questions before then just admitting that his questions are completely meaningless and make no sense. It's a truly bizarre segment.
Well, we're taking angles to stars. We could pick one in Orion's belt. We could take an angle to Jupiter. We could take an angle to Polaris.
Okay.
What is Polaris and where is it?
Above the North Pole?
Yeah, but what is it and where is it?
But I just said above the North Pole.
Yeah, but what is Polaris?
A star.
Right. What is that?
I don't know. Light.
There you go. How high is it?
I don't know.
How far away is Polaris?
What difference does that make?
See, that's the whole thing. What difference does it? Doesn't make a difference.
And as funny as that bit is, it is genuinely not the best bit of the debate. We'll get to that. But flapping around like a fish out of water, the Nathan Oakley subscriber realises he only has one refuge left, and that is to divert the conversation away from science and observations, because obviously he's got no idea what he's talking about there, and instead try and use the conversation to test Jeran's recall of simple definitions.
Do you have a point, or let's get to the next person? Because I don't know where we're going with this. I don't need to be arguing that fact with you. My point is, I think that that's a dumb argument to say that we can't take angles from a curved baseline, because we're not taking angles from a curved baseline. You're taking
Jeran,
angles from a tangent.
Okay, fine, but let's just clear the air. What is an elevation angle?
The angle between you and something in the sky.
That give you a C minus.
Well, I'll take it.
Now, I'm sure Jeran will be absolutely honoured and stoked to receive such a high praise from a Nathan Oakley subscriber, a C minus. Wow. Now, the reason VaxMax, he's the name of the Nathan Oakley subscriber, the reason he wants to talk about definitions is because the definition for elevation that he's got written down contains the word horizontal. So he can read out the entire definition, ignore really the context of it, and just say, ha, it's got the word horizontal in it. It's brilliant.
The angle of elevation, noun phrase. The angle formed by the line of sight in the horizontal plane for an object above the horizontal.
Right.
Spheres do not have horizontal planes.
Now, I'm going to skip just a little bit where Jeran educates them on tangents, and I'm going to jump to the point where they change topic. And to understand what's going on, I've made this for you. What happens next is absolute pure gold, but we need some context. Jeran is trying to tell the Nathan Oakley subscriber, and we'll use this green dot to be him, he's trying to tell him to imagine he's stood at the North Pole. And when you are stood at the North Pole, the sun will move through the sky left to right, no matter what direction you look. And obviously, all directions you are looking at from the North Pole are south. The problem that he's trying to get the Nathan Oakley subscriber to realise is that when you are at the South Pole, and we'll use this green dot to be the South Pole, the sun moves in the opposite direction, meaning we need at least 2 suns. However, it doesn't matter whereabouts in Antarctica you are, you're going to see the same thing. So do we have an infinite number of suns all going in the opposite direction to the sun at the North Pole? It simply doesn't make any sense. Now, this is a fairly easy concept to grasp, unless you're a Nathan Oakley subscriber.
At the North Pole, which way does the sun go?
East to west.
No. Does it go left to right or right to left?
It depends on what direction I'm facing.
It doesn't.
It's going right
it doesn't.
to left
So
or left to right.
you get too upset, and you're not just listening to what I'm saying. Listen.
No, it's just...
No, you're wrong. So listen to what I'm saying.
No, you're using a poor Glober argument.
I'm
that's
not. It's not a poor Glober argument just because you don't get it.
It literally is.
If you're at the North Pole, think for a second. If you're at the North Pole, which way is the sun going? Right to left or left to right?
It's going east to west.
Son of a
Jeran.
bitch. You can't put yourself at the North Pole on a flat Earth?
So in the North Pole, the sun doesn't go east to west.
I'm asking you, would it go left to right or right to left? If you can't
It
answer
really
that,
depends on what direction I'm facing.
sorry, you're at the North Pole. There's only one direction. It's called south.
There we go, we're finally getting somewhere. He now knows that no matter what direction you look at, you are looking south from the North Pole. Given that he's just been told that, I cannot fathom why he then asks this question.
So I can't. So if I go to the North Pole, I can't face north.
Correct.
At least initially, I couldn't understand why he was asking that question until it dawned on me that he thinks north is up and south is down, like in a literal sense.
There is no facing north. You're at the North Pole. Every direction is south.
So you can't face north at the North Pole, is what you're telling me.
Where would north be? It would
Like,
be
you know, but yeah, but if I was facing south, wouldn't I have to be looking at my feet?
That's right, Flat Earth Orienteering 101. The ceiling is north and the floor is south. Great job. Now, unsurprisingly, our Nathan Oakley subscriber realizes that he's not doing very well. The bravado he brought into the discussion, the belief that he could simply scream, "The Earth measures flat and show me the independent variable," doesn't seem to have paid off for him. And now he's in a battle that he simply cannot win. So what do all Flat Earthers do when they get in that situation? Well, they start to lash out a little bit.
No, you're looking south, away from you at the North Pole.
Right, because you're pretending we're on a ball, Jeran.
I'm not. I'm telling you on the flat Earth. We're talking about the flat Earth right now. The flat Earth has a sun that goes clockwise over the top of the flat Earth. If you're inside that middle, you're at the North Pole, the sun moves left to right all times. It's like not even, I don't know what I'm arguing with you about. If you can't get that, then there's no one, it's not even a surprise to me that you can't get what I'm saying about everything else. Because we're not even able to get past that. It's just,
You literally don't know what the difference between clockwise, counterclockwise, and east to west is, dude. And you've been at this for how long?
Then here's the thing. This is how you guys all act. And you don't even realize that you're the one that's grossly wrong. And it's just pathetic that you're going to...
You're over here talking about taking elevation angles off a pen. How am I wrong?
Well, Jeran does bring up a map of the flat Earth to try and draw some arrows on it to explain to him exactly what's going on. And this led to the most bizarre rage quit I've ever seen in my entire life.
Like, that's the other thing, dude. You're
There we
upset over a globe projection.
I'm not upset about anything.
Oh, my phone died. Shit. Bye, guys.
Hello? Yeah, no, I'm afraid I can't talk. Sorry. Yeah, I wish I could, but the battery on my phone's flat. Yeah, I know, it's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, I'll have to phone you back when I've actually got some charge in my phone and you can hear me speak. Yeah, okay. I know, it's terrible. All right, sorry, my battery's flat. Now, that would have been a very humbling experience for our Nathan Oakley subscriber, and I hope that he realises that learning a couple of catchphrases and sound bites, such as show me the independent variable and Earth measures flat, is about as useful as a chocolate fire god. And it was certainly shown to be then. And I do applaud Jeran for the way he handled this flat earther. He was patient with him. He tried to explain. He tried to teach things with him, as opposed to in a video that I made previously where he was quite insulting towards flat earthers. So it's nice to see that little bit of personal growth. Jeran also said some horrendously incorrect things in this stream, which I'll be picking up in future videos. But that's a nice little snippet. I will be back soon. And I've got to say, I'm loving the fallout of this final experiment. It's hilarious. Bye-bye.